I've been sent a driver that potentially could be one of the most forgiving and easy to hit drivers that's out on the market. So the driver in question is the Cleveland Launcher XL driver, and it's caught my eye because normally a Cleveland driver would not do that. I would look at them and think they are boring, but Cleveland have actually packed a lot into this club head and actually the design of it to make it something that does stand out amongst the market of millions of drivers that we are seeing out on the market now. So from Cleveland in the past, like I say, they wouldn't catch my eye. We would see that generally it was a fixed hosel design. It came in a set loft for that reason. And they were very bland. They didn't scream, come and hit me. And even on the website now, they're saying that drivers should be fun to hit. And with the XL launchers, the XL Lite and the XL Lite Draw as well, that's what they want to do. They want to make driver fun. They don't want you looking for your ball in the bushes. They want to see that you're getting it more down the fairway. And that's why I think this could be one of the most forgiving drivers that is out on the market. Now, before we get stuck into the technology, the first thing that I wanted to do actually when I got the club in my hands was actually just go and give it a hit. So I headed over to the golf course without reading too much into what they've actually done with this driver to get my first thoughts, because like I say, the drivers in the past, I would have looked at it and said, yeah, not interested, move on. As soon as I saw this and I was sent one, I thought, oh, well, this is different. Are you sure it's Cleveland? It's actually a nice looking driver when you put it down behind the golf ball. The head itself, it's got some nice graphics on the top of the crown of the driver that actually make it look a little bit more futuristic. The actual head size as well, it's the biggest head they've ever made. Obviously there's the 460cc limit, but the way they've managed to take weight out of it and design the shape makes it quite a large footprint, almost reminiscent to me to something like the Callaway Epic Max driver. And what I'm going to do later on in this video as well is put it head to head to see how it compares to that driver, so stay tuned for that. But we headed to the golf course to get my first initial impressions without knowing too much about it of actually what this driver can do. Oh, I didn't get that one, but that is still gone. That is impressive. Wow. Wow. I did dive out the sky a little bit, but it was a serious toe strike, that one. That was more user error. Okay, so first initial thoughts there. Do you know what started off fantastically with that? Was so impressed, so long with some of them as well. Obviously I've got this slightly longer than normal shaft in. It was flying high, strikes were really good, and then I probably went down a little bit throughout the little initial hit of it there. And what was good, when I was starting to patter the face a little bit, I was still seeing pretty decent flights. Obviously, depending on how bad the golf swing is, it's not going to be an absolute miracle worker. But, you know, from looks wise, like I said, a little bit more futuristic, looks great, gives a lot of confidence behind the golf ball. Sound wise, I am not a fan of the sound. Very sort of tingy. I prefer a more dead sound, but that's just personal opinion. Some people might like that sort of tinginess about them. But then performance on flight and everything, like I say, some really long shots. I'm going to be very interested when we get back on the sim in a minute to see how far this thing is actually going, because out here it's freezing cold and I was still hitting some shots there that would normally be up with where I was in summer. So overall, I think pretty decent start for it. Something that actually excites me about a Cleveland driver as well. Side notes, head cover, really substantial, would be a great hand warmer in the cold weather, but good premium leather, fluffy inside, big branding on it, actually is screaming that it's a Cleveland driver now. Price point as well, $379 I think these are going for at the moment. There are two other models as well. We've got the XL Lite and the XL Lite Draw, which actually come in at around about £340. So A good price point maybe might struggle at 370 because you've got the likes of a Cobra up there, a Mizuno up there, which have got a little bit more of that brand recognition when it comes to driver. But in terms of performance and first initial thoughts on it, impressed. Let's head over to the studio, put it up against a Callaway Max and see how it performs. I'm thinking this thing's going to be long, but let's head down and see how that goes. So what Cleveland have done to make this driver actually become more appealing and actually hold its ground in this market where there are lots of drivers out there with a lot of features in them, they've taken inspiration from the other brands that are in the family, Srixon and Zexio. We see that now it's got the changeable neck in it, so no longer have you got to buy a 9.5 driver or a 10.5 driver. It goes all the way from 9 degrees all the way up to 12.5. So there is that fitability. You can go and test it in different lofts and see which works for you. It's got the rebound frame in the face like we see from the Srixon drivers like the ZX5s, the ZX7s. It's bolstering that, so better ball speeds across the face for those misstruck shots as we're going through it. Then as well, what it's also done from the Zexio driver, it's taken inspiration and put in the counterbalance part of their drivers where we see a little 8-gram weight going up into the top of the grip to feel a little bit more balance throughout the swing. You're going to feel a little bit more control from there. So all of a sudden, a driver that, if we think back to a Cleveland driver that was maybe revolutionary, it was the high ball where it had the dip in the face. If anyone was playing golf then and remember those, they looked a bit weird, almost looked like someone had stamped on it, and that was about as revolutionary as they got, a big dip in the face for aerodynamics. But now, like I say, rebound frame, counterbalancing, changeable neck, a bigger head. It's all there to stand in line with these drivers that we see from the market. So is it going to be as forgiving as one of those drivers? Let's give it a hit, 10 shots with each, see how we go. 10 shots now with the Launcher XL on the foresight. Let's see how it does. A little bit left. Not the best strike, but gone. That's more like it, Matthew. Oh, that was bad. So you not got away with that. Shot 8. With the Max, 9.5 as well, 0.75 short of this one. Let's see what we've got. Necky. Oh, that was a bad one. That must be the toe. So 10 shots with each there, and you know what? The Cleveland stood its ground Club head speed just fractionally quicker. We see that the spin rate is just fractionally lower, and we see that the ball speed is just fractionally higher. Overall, that was leading to just a little bit more distance, a little bit down on what I would see my average carry being, but the drivers aren't set to my spec, so I would expect that. Now, in terms of my strike there, they weren't the best strikes with those, but what I was seeing that those numbers are still up there. I'm still getting some good distance. They're not dropping out of the sky, still getting some launch on them. Dispersion wise, obviously, it's not going to be a miracle worker. So, is it a forgiving driver? Yes, it is. I definitely think it is one of the drivers that if you're looking for a lot of forgiveness when you aim to buy your new driver, the Cleveland should be one that you look at. Couple of little things that I would maybe change with it. Not a fan of the sound. It's too loud and sort of tingy for me. I like a more sort of like the Callaway driver sound where it sounds a little bit dead, but that's personal preference. Some people might like that. Then the price wise, now looking on the internet at the moment, I can see that the standard XL launcher is at $379. The light model's down to $309. Now, because Cleveland, like I said earlier, have been a little bit beige or boring in the driver space, I think they've got a bit of a way to go. So maybe one way to claw people in would have been a slightly lower price point. Maybe that $299 mark, I think, really would have turned a lot of heads and got a lot of people looking at this driver and potentially get it into a lot more bags, then building up that brand loyalty. But overall, is it a good driver? Is it forgiving? Yes, I think it is. I would suggest if you are looking at buying a new driver, go and have a look at it, try it out, see how it works for you, because at the end of the day, it's in your hands and you've got to get the one that works for you. But overall, for a Cleveland driver, I've been pretty impressed there. It's come a long way from a driver with a dint in the head. Guys, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video as well, make sure you check out one of my other videos. Maybe have a look at the Strixon driver review that's just over here. You might like that driver as well. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.